We're currently streaming live on YouTube and we are also on Facebook. The show will also be uploaded onto audio platforms for those of you that prefer to listen in the car or walking the dog, on a train, or even if you just need something to help you sleep at night, please do tune into that. Please do hit us up in the chat. It'd be good to know you're there. Let us know how you're feeling, what your views are, what your opinions are. And if you enjoy the show, please consider subscribing to the channel. And you know, it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. What's to stop you? What's to stop you? Hey, come on, think about it. Anyway, I am, of course, joined by my good friends from Essex, Mason, Dean, and Sweary. Alex, how you doing, boys?
All right, Lee. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Lee, all good here.
And as a special prize for everybody, I've also brought in my good friend Jason, all the way from Beefer, to come and join us and give his views on the current situation at Tottenham Sport. Jace, good to have you, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Lee. Did you write that down as well?
No,
that's amazing.
Sorry, where's he from again? Wade Beefer?
Wade Beefer. Have you never heard of Wade Beefer?
No, where's this place? It's almost as good as Costa del can be.
Mate, Wade Beefer is far better than the Costa del can be, mate.
I don't know about that. But go on, carry on. But he's not surrounded by sea.
Well, listen, we're all in a good mood, right? We're all in a good mood today, aren't we?
No? I'm always in a good mood.
We've got to be in a good mood. Listen, Tottenham Hotspur actually won a game. We won a game at home for the first time in 7 attempts. Can you believe it? Can you believe it's been 7 attempts?
114 days, isn't it, or something like that? Someone said.
Just crazy, just crazy. But listen, we may as well get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the day. Let's talk about the football and see how everyone's feeling. So, Alex, let me start off with you. Let me start off with you straight away.
Pick on the little bloke.
Yeah. Starting line up on Sunday. We had a bit of a good feel good factor come back into it. Vicario straight back into the team, and James Maddison. How did you feel about that? Happy?
Yeah. I was good to see. I like Maddison anyway, only because I think I'm taller than him. But
I don't think you are.
I am sure I am, but I look taller than him from where I'm sitting. But and it's good to see him and Vicario as well. Wanted to see what wasn't his greatest fan, but I wanted to see what he was like coming back. Was pleased with it. Mason was all excited about the listings when it came out. So yeah, I thought it was a good strong team. So yeah, I was quite happy.
It did kind of feel a little bit like seeing that team come out. It did kind of give us a bit of a boost, didn't it?
Was it a boost or was it because they're back and it was something different? I don't know. I think I was glad to see him back in the squad and it was something different, sort of thing. It was something on the way up, like the team's going to get slowly getting back to what it should be. But I was excited to see them coming back.
It's been so long since we've been able to put out a decent kind of stronger looking squad, I guess, for the game. Dean, talk to me about the bench, because on top of having Vicario and Maddison back, we had Udogie, Odebear, and Johnson all on the bench, as well as Archie Gray getting a well-earned break. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it was nice to see some more what we call, I guess, like Premier League blooded players. But at the same time, I don't think the kids let us down when they came on. I thought it was a bit kind of unfair that they were sort of booted straight off. Oh, don't worry, we don't need you now. Thanks for sort of filling in, but you can go and play with your scale extras now. It was kind of like a little bit ungrateful, same as poor old Brandon Austin. He had a cracking game, man of the match. Oh yeah, we've got this new keeper now, so you can go and sit down. Oh, and now the old keeper's back as well, so you can drop down to third place. Hopefully he's going to rotate it. I hope we're going to get a lot more rotation rather than we've done that experiment and we're going to stick with what we got. But at the same time, yeah, it was good to see the oldies back.
Do you really think that though? Like, I get it. I know what you're saying, and I kind of can come along with it. But I just wonder, like, those guys have been playing an awful lot of football, and the only one really was Gray, who kind of got taken out of that, because Bergvall still played. So it didn't feel like, to me, it didn't feel like he was being punished in any way. It felt like that he was kind of just being given a little bit of a breather. But again, he's still come on as well. I mean, I get the point about Brandon Austin, but I genuinely think that now those youngsters have proved themselves, there's a greater opportunity for those to be rotated around. Do you think that or not, or do you really think he's kind of been disrespectful to them?
Not so much, a little bit disrespectful, but at the same time, you've still got players on there like Sonny, who isn't being brilliant and still getting too many minutes. Right, he needed to be sat down. We had Mikey Moore, we had Odebear that could have quite easily come on. Had Johnson that could come on and sit Sonny down just for a bit and offer something different. But he left him on there for so long, and it's them little decisions, mate. But at the same time, we don't see what they're doing in training. Yeah, that's the one thing we go. Why you done that for? The Madison substitution. Everybody went, why are you taking him off? He's been brilliant. But you don't know how much he's got left in the tank. He could have turned around and said, look, I could do 60 minutes, I'll do 70 minutes, and that's my lot, because I'm still sort of trying to get back to fitness. So, yeah, it's hard. But that's it. It's being a fan in it from from a fan's perspective, for you doing your own opinion. You don't see what's going on that training pitch. You don't see what's going on behind closed doors. When I have a chat going, I could do it, Gaff, I'll come on, but I can only do this amount of time because that's all I've got left in my legs.
I think the other thing as well is what's the sports science people saying, what's the medical team saying, and all the rest of it. We've had some horrendous injuries this season. So ideally, you need to rotate that squad. You need to give them the right break and so on and so forth. And I think, in terms of that game on Sunday, I felt that the substitutions were more tactical, but it's hard to know. Jason, let me bring you in. We had Vicario back in the team and in goal. What did you make of his contribution overall?
Do you know, I watched it back tonight. I caught up on it because it takes you over when you're actually in the stadium, doesn't it? You don't necessarily take everything in. So I had to have another look at today. And someone mentioned the other day that MUTV sort of did the script for Match of the Day 2 the other day, because it was a dominant, believe it or not, on Match of the Day 2, it was quite a dominant performance by Man United, and they were just unlucky the way they kind of formatted the programme.
Yeah,
but I have to say, yeah, absolutely. Well, you say that, but actually they were knocking on the door quite a lot, and the person that was keeping them out for the majority of the time was our Vic. Yeah, and he had that absolute sterling game. Some of the saves against Ganacho and people like that were absolutely fantastic. I think he could have got caught out quite late on the game by the I can't remember. Is it Zensky? I can't. Who's the lead? The massive bloke for Man United. He could have got caught at the far post. He was left a little bit stranded, but he didn't really put a foot wrong. The only thing I'll say is, and the only criticism I've got is that playing from the back still makes me feel like the world's going to end pretty quickly if they get that wrong. So, but it was great. I mean, my match day routine on Sunday was quite different. I went to the Coach and Horses, and thanks to all those that are protesting, because they got served quite quickly in there. That was quite good. And then went from there to see James Black, and he read the team lineup out during his set at Block 120, and you could feel the room lift quite a lot. We could see, the experience that was coming back through Madders, and also the bench looked quite good. So it gave a bit of a pre-match lift, knowing that people like Vicario and Madison were coming back, and see Odebear on the bench, Brendan Johnson, and the team set up. It just gave that. Oh, we've got a chance here. Absolutely fantastic. So absolutely blinded by Vic, but unfortunately he was surpassed by man of the match by Mr. Spence, which is well deserved, I have to say. But he was a very close second, I have to say.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought Vicario had a really good game. I get he kept us in it because it was edgy right towards the end, and they did have their opportunities. I don't think that they were dominant. I thought we had a really dominant game most of it. It felt like, from my perspective, it was just wave after wave of us attacking, and we were unlucky not to actually get a couple more goals. Certainly in the first half, I thought we were far more dominant. But like you say, to have Vic back in goal, and I felt his presence in the goal, even at crosses, which has been a worry, was good to have back. He seemed to deal with everything, fairly well. Mason, let me bring you in here. David makes a comment here, which I think is quite an interesting one, right? He says, I think Mikey Moore will be lucky to make the subs bench soon, which should be a shame. And I guess that's in reference to the fact that Werner should be back soon and Odebear is back. Do you think that's pushing him out of the contention?
No, not really. Only because Odebear isn't a left winger. He's played a left winger for us a few times because that's how Ant plays. He likes to have their strong foot on the outside so they can pass it in. But Odebear is a right winger, so he would be the Brennan Johnson rotation. Kulusevski shouldn't be playing out on the right. He should be more central. He should be the Madison competition. So I think Mikey Moore on the left. Werner's gone at the end of the season, isn't he? So and potentially Son as well. So I don't think it blocks the door for Mikey Moore, but it definitely does hinder it. I'd say that it does hinder it because there's more options from the bench, but I don't think it's going to stop any progression anytime soon.
Yeah, I do think it's a show. I think it may be seen as a bit of a blocker, but he is 17, and should we really be relying on him to play as much football as he is? There is time for him to develop. We all, as fans, really want to see him doing well, right? We really want to see him getting involved and lighting it up because he looks fantastic. Yeah. But again, you don't want to burn him out and create this real problem for him in his later on in his career, I guess. I'll stick with you because I'm going to ask you about the other person who came back in terms of James Maddison. So James Maddison came back and he scored a poacher's goal through his dart and shushed Roy Keane, which I thought was hilarious personally. But what did you make of Maddison during the game?
Well, if Jed Spence didn't drop a worldie of performance, he would have got man of the match. Just put it that way. He was the second best player on the pitch that day, and he was everywhere, weren't he? He was passing balls forward. He was doing his defensive work. He was doing, obviously, as you say, he got the poacher's goal. He was non-stop. He had something to prove. Like Roy Keane shouldn't have opened his mouth, in my opinion. Yeah, he was out for blood that day, and you can very much see on his face that's what he was doing.
Well, maybe we need to do that to him all the time. Maybe he needs to get that all the time to so he does come back to prove a point. It's like when he got dropped and he came on against Villa and put that free kick in. That almost felt like he was trying to prove a point as well.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's what he needs to kind of get himself back into it. I don't know. Alex, let me talk to you about Kevin Danso. So Kevin Danso came on, home debut, got a great reception from the fans. I thought everyone was really up for it, give him a big kind of applause and everything. How did you feel he got on? Because personally, I thought he did all right. But how did you see it?
Yeah, I think he did quite well. I think he communicated with the players quite well. He was organising everyone. Everyone saw that. I think he had quite a good debut. He kept himself busy, kept himself in the mix. I was quite impressed.
He seemed quite good going forward as well. He seemed to kind of intercept and kind of push forward and that.
Yeah, he was pushing
for a couple of decent balls out. I think he could have, really pushed it on.
Yeah, no, I say he was pushing everyone forward. He was just communicating with people, And I haven't seen that before. He was just communicating with people, telling people to calm down, telling people to push forward, getting everyone just to get in position. Which was completely new from where I was sitting because I haven't seen anyone do that before. He was very what's the word? Not theatrical, but you could see him making an effort to get eyes on with people. Advising them where to go. So I thought that was quite good. But yeah,
him and Davies together looked a decent pair. I thought Davies had a good game as well. The two of them together.
Yeah, Davies was solid, reliable as ever. I just think he slotted it at the back really, really well. Because I was sitting next to Scott. Scott, he was there yesterday on Sunday. It's good to see him again. I just think he slotted. He just did a great job. Just the communication between the three was good. and they were just pushing. I mean, like JJ said, match of the day, I thought was abysmal because it was just all Man United. You would have thought they was on top of us, and that wasn't the case. We were putting pressure on them, as we all know, for the majority of the game, and it was coming from the back because they were just pushing up, and it was the communication between the three of them, which was doing that. So I thought, yeah, he done really well. I was really impressed. Like I say, and repeating myself, the communication was great.
It's something you want to see, right? You want to see that talking to each other and making sure each other's in the right positions and so on and so forth. Yeah?
It goes from one scale to the other. You got them. Can you hear my cat? She's in season. Look out! But it goes from one scale to the other. They're communicating well with each other. But then you got Son that does absolutely fuck all. Excuse the French. He just looks at the ground. He doesn't talk to anyone. It's just pathetic. So but yeah, those three at the back did a good job.
Yeah, we can talk about Son in a bit. I've got it down on my running order of things, but I want to come back to you, Dean, about the midfield, kind of moving on from the defence there. So in terms of midfield, we had Bergvall, Bentancur, and Maddison all in the midfield. Felt a bit more like an attacking minded midfield in my mind, with Bergvall and Maddison in there with Bentancur kind of holding back. What did you think? Do you think it was a bit more attacking? Was that your view of it?
Yeah, obviously you've got Bergvall, who likes to take everybody on. Maddison, that with a point to prove. He loves to drop his shoulder, and his passing ability is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I do like him in, and old Bentancur. He's more of a defensive midfielder, but we need that. You can't have everybody charging forward. So when they drop back, I liked it. It was very, very well balanced, and I think a lot of that come from like Vic being in the back, and like Kev Danso. He is solid as a rock, mate. He weren't shying away from any tackle. He reminded me a little bit of, like, when old Toby Alderweireld, he used to ping across. It didn't come off all the time, but same with Danso's, he didn't. But he was prepared to put it about, so I like him a lot.
Yeah, he seemed like, let's say, like I just said to Alex, it felt like he's a bit of a ball carrier and likes to kind of, play them balls out of defence and stuff. Let's say he didn't always come off, as you say, but it feels like that might be something he's got in his locker. In terms of Bentancur, I felt that the previous game he was really poor. So I felt we had a better game on Sunday. Did you feel he was a bit more up for it? Do you think maybe because he had Maddison with him to take a bit of pressure off in terms of attack minded?
Yeah, it's all about the personnel you got wrapped around you. If you're everybody's firing, then you've got to bring up your game. But if you're going, well, I'm worried what he's doing, so I'm going to drop back and I'm going to look across and go, oh shit, he's not where he's supposed to be, so I've now got to move my position, so he's out of position. You always look bad, So if everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, plus they've had plenty of time now on the like that to have a practice to get their match fitness back up. So yeah, it's all sort of kind of like slotting into place. I just hope it carries on doing it.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've just heard Alex's view of Son, being that he's fucking shit. So
I didn't say that. Didn't say that. I just said he was very, very poor.
I'm pretty sure you didn't use that language, but listen, we can always play it back afterwards. Jason, let me come to you for some sensible conversation about Son.
The phone. What do you mean by that? Fucking cheap.
About Sonny. I'll be honest with you. In my notes, I kind of put he wasn't great, was he? I did feel he started off fairly well. But seemed to drift off. Jace, give me your assessment of Heung-min Son.
Look, we all know he's not had the best season. He's really not. He's been off it for quite a while. But then a lot of his work goes off the radar. Some of the setup work that he did was fantastic. But he just seems to be losing a little bit of confidence taking the ball forward. He'd run virtually the length of the pitch and then get to a dead end and then looks like he's a bit lost when he gets to that point where he needs to make a decision. But he set Kulu up towards the end. And Kulu, virtually passed it to the goalkeeper. And I think he contributed a few times like that where he put us into goal-scoring positions, especially on some of the corners and some of the crossing that he did. But we've celebrated and loved him for so long, and he's been at his peak probably, I don't know, a couple of seasons ago, and he's now starting to drift a little bit. We all know that, but we still love him, don't we? But he needs to come off a little bit earlier, like Dino says, and that he needs. You can see he's getting frustrated. His head's going down a little bit, and that's the time to make a change around about 55, 60 minutes, I think. What do you think, Dean? Is it a little bit earlier than that? I don't know. Maybe is that about right?
Yeah, you don't want to whack it. You like sort of give him half time and then sort of pull him off, or because he is such a good player, you don't play him first half, and then you bring him on 60, 65 minutes, and give him like 30 minutes. I think that's be better for him. But I did notice that his knees were strapped. At least one of them was definitely all strapped up, so he may be carrying a bit of an injury. But he's like, he's a soldier. He just keeps on sort of piling on. But yeah, he needs a rest. He does need a rest, and I think he has got it. He's still got it in his locker. You see him against all right, it was only Elfsberg, right? I'm not being horrible to Elfsberg, but it was them, and he was taking them on. Whereas in the Premier League, he would do step overs, and then he'll cut inside and then lay it back. And that way, all our sort of rushing up the pitch just stops and drops. So
I guess I did see that there was a period in the game where he kind of made this really long, mazy run, took everyone on, and which shows that he still has a level of pace and energy that he can do. Maybe he shouldn't be doing it all the time through a game, but he did kind of show that. Unfortunately, it kind of run out of steam right at the end, where he kind of just passed it and it didn't go anywhere. I think it was Tell he was trying to set up. So I do think he's got. Like, I agree with you. I'm worried that he's maybe carrying something, and we've overused him, and he kind of needs a break. So he's not that old. He's similar age to Mo Salah, for instance.
Yeah.
So that he's still. It's not. It's too early to write him off, I think. But I mean, I agree with Alex. It's been disappointing, and there's times where he perhaps just needs to get his head up, and just think it through, make that pass, just that split second earlier, or get that cross in or whatever. But because we all want him to be great, right? I mean, Alex, do you concur with any of that, or
I do concur. I mean, again, where I'm at the front, he stands, 15 foot in front of me, and I'm surrounded by his little army sort of thing. And Sunday, he was just looking at the ground. He just was not, I wouldn't say he wasn't interested, because obviously he is, but he's just not captain material. He honestly is not captain material.
What Sean's just asked. Just asked there. Is it the captain's hard man? Is that playing on his mind? Is that responsibility? Creating a problem for him.
Little Wallen's dad was sitting in front of me, and he turned around and he said, "He's just not a captain. He's just not communicating." And so I shouted out to Son. And obviously they do hear you shouting. I mean, you've heard me shout. I mean, I can shout, Dean, can't I? I mean, I can shout, but I just said to him, "Son, communicate. You've got to communicate. Pick the team up. Talk to them. And just nothing happens." Go on, JJ. Go on. What was you going to say?
No, I was going to say you gave the armband to Vic towards the end of the game when he came off, and Vic had a completely different style of leadership. He was barracking players. He was geeing them up. He was screaming. He was screaming at them to do the right thing. As soon as he got that armband, he went up to a different level of, leadership within the team, and that's what you want to see from Son.
Line at one point, wasn't he? And I'm thinking to myself, "Get back in goal, for God's sake! What are you doing?" I could just see him getting locked.
Just need that. Yeah. Just need that sometimes. You just need that extra little bit, and you could see the passion of Vic right at the end of the game, and he had that armband on, and he towards the crowd, and the music was playing, and you thought, bloody hell, that's what we need. We could do with something like that in midfield.
But also with Sonny though, I mean, he's not called in for the ball. He was out of position a couple of times, but when he's got the ball, like you said earlier, he will make the run, but then he just loses his bottle. How many times he's been into the same position when he's been in the court, like when he's been near the area where previously he's took a shot, but then now he's like just passing it back or passing it through where the area is so congested with opposition. It's too late. Where previously we've seen him ping goals in. So and his head is down. Like I say, where I sit, his head is down. And we're not always having a go at him. We're saying, Son, head up. We're geeing him up. Come on, Son.
Yeah.
Come on, Sonny. Let's have it. Come on. Get in there, get stuck in. Lift your head up, mate. Come on. And it just
none of us are against him, right? None of us are against him. We all love him, right?
Yeah.
We all want him to be brilliant,
No, but when we do say, "Oi, Sonny, come on, you're shit," or "You're playing shit," yeah, you do get a funny look, mate, from about 50,000 tourists. It's a bit like what's it? Custer's last stand. You know what I mean? Wait till you see wait till you see the whites of their eyes. You have to look hard, but
Well, Nigel makes a point with Johnson and Odegaard coming back and Vernon out. Maybe he will get a break. Maybe he'll get an opportunity to rest a little bit. If he's carrying injury, maybe he'll get a time to kind of get that right and hopefully come back stronger. Mason, you've been really quiet. You've been really quiet. So let me bring you in because I'm going to ask you about Tell making his home debut. Decent game. I've seen, unbelievably, I've seen some comments on Twitter or X saying that he's shit, which which is unbelievable. But you do see it. There is some real weirdos that live on X for sure. What did you make? What did you make of Tell? I thought he did all right.
I thought he had a good game, not a great game because obviously he had so many chances he could have buried, but he was always that close to scoring. He had a good game. He was a nightmare for the defenders. I didn't know where he was going to go. He was dragging Maguire out of position. That obviously allowed Son to have a crack on Dorgu, I think it was, or Mazraoui, one of the two. But no, Tell had a great game. I think he will be a great player for us. That's if he stays. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I worry about. But you know what they say, don't fall in love with a lone player. But a lot of people have already done it. So.
But don't they say? But from what Angie's saying, that he's not signed him for 6 months. He signed him as a longer-term Tottenham player, right? The contract's all agreed. His wages, all that kind of stuff's all agreed. It's just a case of at the end of the season activating that option to keep him and him accepting to stay. So I guess there'll always be that opportunity for him to say no. But if he's already agreed all the terms and everything else, then there must be something in it that he wants to say no.
Oh, the hard bit's out of the way, and that's getting pen to paper. That's the hardest part. It's just keeping hold of him. So if that is being that without our form on the table, he's going to want to play European football. He's only 19. He's going to want to have to play more games and such. But it really does depend on Tell. And at the moment, if you follow his Instagram, his Twitter and stuff like that, he is proper buying into the Spurs fandom at the moment. He's always talking about this and that. Like after the game, he put in quotations, "You chose the wrong club," with about 50,000 laughing emojis. Like he's proper buying into the fan base at the moment. So, as I say though, he's a great player. He will be an even better player, but it's just don't fall in love with a lone player because you never know. You never know.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with you. I thought he did well. There was a couple of more. His opportunities felt more like snap shots rather than anything else. But he never shied away from it. He always showing for the ball. Always wanted to get involved. And he seems like sort of character that's going to G people on and everything. I see him quite often sort of waving the team on, saying, come on, let's get forward or whatever. So I was quite impressed with him. His goal the week before or whatever it was against Villa, I thought we took that really, really well. It shows the quality that he obviously does possess. So it was good to see him. He got a good reception from the home fans as well. So it was good to see. Jason, let me come to you. So we've touched on this already about Gray kind of getting left out, going on the bench. I And when he came on, as a substitute. He came on for Danso, so straight back into defence. Did you think all that's a little bit unfair on him, not getting the opportunity to play in his preferred position?
No, not at all. I mean, he's been there all season, let's face it, and the boy needed a rest, didn't he? So let's get him on the bench, get him recharged, and get straight back in defence, son. I think he's used to that position now, and he's served us so well over the last few months. Where let's face it, we've been in crisis, and he has been one of the people that really shone. And I'm glad he got a rest on Sunday, and I'm glad he came on later, and kind of just gave us that little bit of stability towards the end of the match, because we could quite easily have thrown it away. And he was part of that group that saw us through. So, he's worked well with Davies. He's worked well with the remainder of the squad that have seen us through. I don't see a problem with it. I don't think it was disrespectful. I think he's going to play a big part in our team going forward, especially next season. And when we do start to see him in midfield or just in front of the defence, I think we're going to see an amazing player. And he's a future captain, I think, for Spurs, Archie Gray. He is absolutely fantastic. And I look forward to watching him every time he gets on the ball. Yeah, no,
I agree with you. And like I say, it would be good to see him in his preferred position, to see how he plays in that, because we've seen a couple of instances when he's kind of played a bit further forward. His crossing ability is really good as well. But I mean, if you're an 18-year-old kid and you're just kind of really starting out in your career, not coming to a technically, I'll use inverted commas, right? A big team in the Premier League at 18, you're not expecting to play that often. So to play the amount of football he's played, he must be loving that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Him and Bogle put some minutes in over the last few months, and it can only be a good experience from. I know there's a few losses in there, but there's quite a few losses in there, to be honest with you. But it's how they deal with that and pick themselves up and then move on to the next. And I think he's held his head really high. He can be really proud of what he's achieved over the last few months. And what a cracking signing! I'm really chuffed. And we just have to be patient with the lad. We have to be patient with all this group. Tell, 19 years old, Bergval, even Spence. I don't know how old is Spence.
24.
Is he
24?
Oh, is in mid-20s? Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit younger than that.
Yeah, he's early 20s, isn't he? Early 20s.
But I don't think Papa Sarr's too far over 20 either. Papa Sarr. So
I think he's 22, isn't he? About something like that. 21, 22.
So that core of youth, as it were, is getting some fantastic experience, and it can only bode well. I hope it bodes well, especially with the experienced players coming back. So
yeah. I mean, on top of that, you got to add in Odebear. Dean, what did you make of it? What did you make of his kind of cameo? He only got a few minutes, but bearing in mind he's not played this season. He had a couple of little bits at the start of the season, not played at all. But he made a couple of good good dribbles. I think he had as many dribbles as Son in the time that he was on the pitch too. He looks really keen to get involved.
Yeah, I think once you've been sitting like in like the med centre for all that amount of time, and then just doing a few stretches and bits, you just want to start playing football again. I mean, that's what they love to do. So I like him. I do like him. He's got something about him. Lucky enough, as you look through that team, the team on Sunday, you could see that like Postecoglou's plan sort of come to fruition. Not as much because we didn't press as hard as we did, and at the same time, Man United didn't press us too much either. So I don't. It was two teams that were kind of a little bit lackluster. I think if we would have been playing, say, Liverpool again, we might have suffered a little bit, but the boys still looked like they could play.
Yeah.
So I it's got to be good looking forward, especially when more and more players come back. Whether Romero comes back, God only knows. He'll probably get back just in time for the bloody international break and start off to Argentina and then go and get busted up again. But yeah.
Well, he was at the game, wasn't he? He was at the game at the weekend. I didn't realise, but he was at the game at the weekend, because there's been a lot of talk about the fact that you never see him. Like a lot of the injured players have all been on the bench watching, and and all the rest of it. And Romero's been one of the ones that's been called out as missing, but he was actually there at the weekend.
Yeah, he was probably in the Levy out bloody campaign going down the high street before the game as well.
Yeah,
so
he's probably giving it some stick.
Yeah, he was. He was probably holding the banner. But I don't know. His body language and everything about him, just like he's off. You know, it's a little bit off. It feels like he might be on the move in the summer. I think he's looking for a move. It doesn't look like he wants to stay. I may be wrong. Let's hope I am. But hey, I mean, Danso looks good in his position. That's for sure.
Yeah, but really, in reality, you've got to have, two good, your two players for pretty much every position. And because we've had so many injuries, that's what's kind of really, in my view, has kind of thrown us out the window. But I mean, if you've got Van der Ven and Romero, and you've got Danso, and you've got Gray, and you've got Ben Davies,
and Ferguson.
There's a good, if you've got all of those fit, you can afford to have an injury with those kind of. Oh, the other one, Dragusin, I've forgotten all about him as well. You've got the opportunity to kind of mix and match with those. The problem we've had is that there's just so many of them not been available. I mean, Ben Davies was injured up until recently, and Dragusin is now obviously gone off injured, and the other two have already been out for so long. But it would be interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's hard. And I get the Ange out analogies from a lot of people, but it's difficult to kind of judge him when he's not had all the players available to really see how you can rotate and kind of, if a player's not playing very well, where you can kind of switch him up. So like on Sunday, if Son's not having his best game, the ability to be able to change him for someone like Odegaard or someone like Mikey Moore, that gives you something to kind of switch it up, which I don't think he either didn't do because he didn't fancy the players at the beginning of the season, or they've been injured ever since, and that's kind of taken that opportunity away from him. So it'll be interesting to see what he's got as these players come back. Go on, Alex. Sorry, mate.
No, I say we picked up injuries on Sunday, though, didn't we?
But the injuries we picked up were knocks rather than full-on injuries. So Danso picked up a knock. Was it? Did Son pick up a knock as well?
Yeah, Son.
And who was the other one? There was another one as well.
Bentancur went off limping, I think.
Yeah, Bentancur. Yeah.
But from what he said since is that those were kind of impact, kind of knocks, that sort of thing, where they were able to take them off and replace them with a player, as opposed to them having to soldier on and then get even more injured, which I think is the key thing, right?
Yeah,
definitely. If Son took a knock, he could cover. Danso took a knock. Let's not rush him. Let's not push it. Let's take him off. We've got Archie Gray to come in, and he can kind of pick up that position and not let us down. And I think he's kind of proved that point. So that's where I think Ange needs to be in terms of, you get a little knock, you take it easy. And I think he's probably learnt a lot from this injury crisis as well, because if he was responsible for a lot of the injuries and pushing players too hard and all the rest of it, I think he's learnt from that he can't do that with the amount of games that we've had, because he's certainly, in my view, he's changed his stance a lot in terms of not rushing players back. Hence the reason why Van der Ven and Romero haven't been pushed to get back yet. They're taking it very, very carefully for a longer term solution. I just want to. I thought it was quite interesting. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on this, but after the game, Ange was asked about whether he had any sympathy for.
I heard this
for Amorim, and he said he's got no sympathy cards from any other managers in his office. So he's got empathy, but welcome to my world.
Yeah,
which I thought was brilliant. What did you think of that? Anyone got any view on that?
Yeah, I make him right, mate. I make him 100% right. Everyone has been digging at him, making comments for the past 2 months, and then as soon as Man United, welcome to the club, mate. Fucking deal with that. So I make him 100% right. you know. And and like Talk Shite was saying, "Oh, well, is he moaning or is he, does he have the right to say that?" Yes, he does. And that what's his name now? Simon White, is it? Yeah, Jordan. I'm always getting
Every
things out.
time.
It's early stages, early stages. But, I mean, sometimes he talks sense, but he talks utter shit when he was complaining about him, But no, I think he was 100% right in making that comment. So, yeah, welcome to the club, mate. Welcome to the real world. Welcome to the Spurs world.
See, that's one of the things that I really like about Ange, is if he's asked a question, he'll give an answer. The problem is, if he gives an answer, it's taken out of context, it's twisted, it's clickbaited, it's misinterpreted, and all the rest of it. So he don't help himself because he answers the question. A lot of them, I mean, other managers would have probably said something along the lines of, that's their issue to worry about. I'm not here to comment about other teams. Whereas Ange, his answers are kind of
barrels.
they're kind of proper answers, aren't they? Why should I feel sorry for him? He didn't still feel sorry for me. I don't remember him sending me a card to say,
exactly.
I hope it gets better soon. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Dean?
Hands dealt.
Dean Postacoglu, what do you think?
Yeah, Dino.
I didn't get any cards.
Big flange.
Exactly. So, yeah. No, I mean, he was right saying it.
But
go on, Dino, go on.
Like you said, Lee, all the other managers will sort of bite, I didn't see it happen, or there was what about the elbow in the face right in front of you where you were standing? No, I didn't see it. I didn't really look at it, but I may look at it later. Well, do you want to look at the screen? Oh, not really. But he don't. He attacks it head on. So you've got to give him like props for that, without a doubt. But sometimes he's got to go, yeah, perhaps I'll step back a little bit and we won't be in the news every fucking day. That might help.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. Every day, I mean, Dean's spot on there. Every day, Tottenham are in the news for something. If Tottenham didn't exist, they'd have nothing to say about anything. You listen to Talk Shite. When I listen to it while I'm driving from A to B, but more or less, Tottenham are mentioned every section of that programme, of that station. From morning till even till 7 o'clock, Tottenham are mentioned all day. Without Tottenham, they'd just be twiddling their thumbs and playing with each other. That's all they would be doing.
It's interesting. It's interesting, really, about you say that, and there's been a lot. Like, going right back to the Maddison thing, I put a video out today about it, right? Because
you've got too much time on your hands, Lee. You ever tell?
I have. But since that happened, I've seen nothing but comments on Twitter, videos, all these people, Talk Sport talking about it, YouTubers talking about it, all these people, right? And the consensus of opinion is it's embarrassing. What's he done? The 6-yard tap in, blah, blah, blah. Not fit enough to wash Roy Keane's boots and all this sort of nonsense.
Bollocks.
But at the end of the day, that's what they're talking about. It's clickbait, right? The geezer scores a goal. I mean, I'm a big fan of all of the shithousery and all that. When I've said this before, when Vardy comes to Tottenham and we're giving him loads of shit about his missus, he taps his badge, his Premier League badge, and he gives it the old 2-0 and all this sort of business, or 1-0, whatever. And fair play to him. He's got the bants right on that. And it was the same with I said this in the video. It's the same with Adebayor when he run the length of the pitch and his knee slides in front of the Arsenal fans and he gives it all that when he scored against them that time. Right, I think it's brilliant. So why shouldn't Maddison do something like that? Why shouldn't he say to Roy Keane, "Shut up, mate. I will show you." Why shouldn't he do that? And I think it's right at all players. Do you see the thing with Daniel Farke, however you say his name, in trouble for going on the pitch to celebrate a 95th minute winner? And he's in trouble for it, and they're all complaining about it. No one was complaining when Klopp was doing it.
Yeah,
it just makes me laugh,
Arteta's always out of his technical area, always on, his feet are on the pitch. Never gets nothing. But
it's not long ago he actually picked the ball up before it went out.
Yeah. Without doubt, we are the Millwall of the Premier League, mate.
No one likes
Nobody
us.
likes us. Everybody hates
we
us.
don't care.
We don't care. There we go. You
No,
should start
absolutely.
that. So you should start that chant. No one likes us. We don't care. We are Tottenham, Super Tottenham. We are Tottenham from the lane. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
start
well
that.
done, well done, and that was
Yeah,
almost
there you
in
go.
tune as well. That
I
was
know.
really good.
I know. You should hear
That
me
was really
on
good.
one of you full voice, mate. Come, none of the
Maybe you should
Tory.
be on the stage, fella. Maybe you should be on the stage.
Well,
I've
Keep a
done it.
track, or on the stage all the same.
I'd rather be on the stage than in the Tory section where they're just looking at me, not understanding what I'm saying. What is Yido? What? Oh, I don't know. But that's another topic. Carry on.
I do want to. It would be remiss of us not to talk about the protests because I did walk down to. Look, let me make this absolutely clear. I'm not jumping on the back of the protests. I've never been involved in the protests. I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to jump on the bandwagon around it or whatever. But there was a protest, or different levels of protest. There was a big march outside the stadium. Lots of people there as well. What did you make of it? Let me come to you, Mason, because you've been awfully quiet, and I feel like I've left you out. Let me come to you. What did you make of the protest outside the ground?
It definitely sends a message, doesn't it? It's definitely fans are fed up. But then you hear on the news, like it's the same old rhetoric. Oh, why are Tottenham angry? They spend. It's not why we spend. It's how we spend. It's when we spend. It's like after the Champions League final, didn't spend. In an injury crisis, doesn't spend. I think weren't we the only club in Premier League history not to make a transfer after the Champions League year?
Two windows, wasn't it?
Yeah,
two windows where we didn't buy anybody.
It's not how much they spend; it's when and how they spend, and people are fed up with it. It's like forgive me, I don't know her name, but basically right hand lady to Levy. What's her name? Donna Cullen. She was talking about the stadium, how lovely it was. Didn't mention football once. She spoke about how you could use it for rugby, for concerts and such and such and such. She got asked, give us a description of the Tottenham Stadium. Not football wasn't mentioned once. It was described as like a media outpost. So people are fed up with it. The football's forgotten. But
yeah,
it's the protest definitely sent the message, and the media weren't very happy with it. Let's put it that way.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see all the. Now there's a lot of mainstream media and all that talking about as well. Jamie Redknapp, I read something from him about how he's been calling it out for years, which is a load of bullshit about Daniel Levy and all the rest of it. And the interesting thing that I was going to talk about was they talk about a lot about how great the stadium is, how great the training facilities are, and all the rest of it. But the interesting point about that is it still didn't attract a couple of players this season that we wanted to buy because they'd rather stay where they are and fight for their places in teams that are maybe in Champions League or got more opportunity to win games or whatever. And then what do you mean? You don't want to come and play at this brilliant stadium? You don't want to train in these world-class facilities? No, mate, I'd rather stay at this club and try and win a trophy.
I mean,
so it kind of shows you really that not all players are just interested in having a nice a nice soft bed to sleep in and nice facilities.
Oh yeah, I mean if you load up Twitter now, people are having a frenzy over another link to Qatar. People are gagging for it. They want another owner, but I don't think the chairman would go. I don't think Levy would leave, would he? He's always said that if there was a new investment, he'd stay on, but. As I say, right now, people going into melt with Football Insiders all over it. Sky News are all over it. Apparently, a Qatari bid's come in within the week. But I think it's just a massive smokescreen. I think it's just a bit of a deflection to get Levy's name out of the papers for a while. If I'm being honest, it happens every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess I don't know this Qatari thing. Dean, let me ask you: Would you be happy for a new owner being a Qatari type, sports washing type? Owners?
It depends where the Qatari money's coming from. If it's state-owned or whatever, then no. But if it's from a corporation, then yeah, why not? Everybody's doing it. Everybody going, oh, well, we wouldn't want that money. Look what City's done. Yeah, won millions of things. Look what Chelsea done. Yeah, but it's oil money. Yeah, but look at the trophy cabinet. They don't give a shit. So, yeah, the same. Leicester had a lot of money coming in. Not so much now. But when they had that money coming in, they was on a roll. So yeah, you got to. I'm not a complete Levy out person. I think he should be stayed on the commercial side, but totally away from the football side, like what Scott Munn's supposed to be. But you don't hear from Scott Munn at all. You don't hear from Lang at all. You don't. So Levy's always micromanaging. So no matter what you do, he's always going, oh, hang on, you're doing what? You want to buy who? With my money? No, but if it's not his money, then it might be different. Right? As long as the shares still go up. The NFL, right? We was on a tour the other day. That NFL, how many times more does the NFL make than a normal standard Tottenham game?
Yeah,
Don't give them the
you was
answer.
telling me, but I'll let you call it out. Sorry.
5. Right? 5 times the amount. Right?
I'm very happy there.
So, and obviously they have a few games. What they're trying to do is now get 4 games. Okay, so if they get 4 NFL games, that's as much as the entire Premier League home season we get, let alone obviously without the cups and stuff. So that's them taking care of just 4 games. So that matters not. Put Beyonce and bloody Jay-Z and all the other like Post Malone. Put all
Post Malone.
Yeah,
Come on.
where are you going, Mason? Where are you going?
Got to see Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, you're part of the problem.
You're part of the problem.
I've never been to one before.
No,
that's no excuse.
My first proper concert.
So you're going to concerts.
Don't blame me.
Alex is doing the stadium tour, and Dean bought himself a massive big coat on Sunday.
That's
right.
Ask me how warm it was.
How warm was you, mate? Was you warm in that coat?
So warm, mate. I was unzip it to let the heat out.
It looked like a tent.
Ask him what he slept in Sunday night.
I didn't even get out of it. I didn't even put the heating on.
Just so as he could feel closer to Daniel Levy.
That's it.
You Levy lover, you. You Levy lover, you. Listen, just on a sensible point, right? I'll give fair play to the guys that all did the march down the high street. I think it does send a clear message that people were not happy. I don't necessarily think it will make the difference in terms of Daniel Levy leaving, because I know there's a massive amount of people want Daniel Levy totally out of the club, which I understand. There's other people that want just the opportunity for him to change his ways, which I think is probably more likely, if anything, because you can already see some of the stuff that's coming out, different things that are like with this Qatari stuff, all these kind of stories coming out. I think there is an opportunity maybe for him to take a proper step back. But as you say, Dean, he's a bit of a micromanager, so we'll see what kind of comes from it. But I thought the sit-in, I didn't think the sit-in went as well as perhaps they would have wanted from where I was. And the other thing I did want to call out was when we were at the previous match, there was a lot more singing of Daniel Levy get out of our club than there was on Sunday. And my understanding was that they were going to sing that every 10 minutes. Jace, did you hear any of the singing? Was it just my section where I just didn't really hear anything?
No, there was some singing, but I think because the team actually put in quite a good performance, I think it kind of muted the demonstration a little. It kind of muted the demonstrations, and it started to fade away. When the guys were putting tackles in and putting some pressure on Man United, and it switched to come on you Spurs rather than I don't care about Levy. So I saw the protest at the end, and I saw the beginning of the protest at the beginning. Just coming down the high road. So fair play to him. It felt like a different kind of protest this time.
Yeah.
A lot of people around the world have picked up on the hashtag, as well as media around the world, and nothing will hurt Levy more than the brand being subjected to those kind of protests, because it is a brand, it's a world brand, and that will hit him the most. That will hurt him the most, being in the papers, the media, everything. So it did feel different. 1,000 people, 61,000 in the stadium. Sometimes it can make a difference, and I think the Qatari stuff, there may be some traction in it. But we've got, as a lot of people say, it kind of divides right across the board you've got to be careful what you wish for. We've had other clubs that have had investment and they've got relegated, or Leeds United, a great example, a few years ago when they had some investment and it all went peaked on. So it's not always great. And if everybody's got a Qatari owner, then we're on this level playing field again, aren't we? So and Man City are just about to be smashed with about over 100 charges for mismanagement of their accounts and everything. So do we want to be in that position? Do you know? I don't know, but it'd be nice to get an investment, a sustainable investment that we can invest in some experienced players, some marquee players that can take this team forward. And I think that's what we need. And good luck to the guys. They're passionate about the club as we all are. And the change for Tottenham, bits and pieces. Then good luck to you. But it's not something that I really get into. I just love going to watch the team, and that's my day really. And
it's a real difficult one, right? Because if you're not part of the protests and all the rest of it, you kind of feel like maybe you're letting the side down a little bit, because we all do want change. I don't think there's many fans out there that don't want a level of change, whatever that level is. And I think there's differing levels all the way through about exactly what they want. The ideal scenario, in my mind, would be, none of these people, these mega billionaires owning football clubs and using them as their own plaything. All clubs should be able to work off of what they earn, off their fan base, and what money they can generate and all that sort of stuff, bringing through your own players and all the rest of it, rather than whoever's got the most money buys the best players and pays the most money. And so therefore it just skews the whole league. That would be the ideal scenario. It'll never happen because that's not how it works, right? In capitalism and all the rest of it, everyone's out to make as much money as they can. It's like exploiting Dean on his £250 coat from the shop.
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't. It wasn't
well,
£250
though, right? You got it half price. So it was 120, right?
But Lee, you saying that though? Lee, it's all sports though. Whatever sport you look at, it's all money now. And
it's like the cheat code.
It's the same with the golf. It's the same with the snooker. All that kind of boxing. It's all happening, isn't it?
Motorsport, Formula One. All these. Yeah. Oh yeah, he come from nothing. Okay, he come from nothing, but his dad's mate or his grandfather had a silver spoon shoved up his arse, so he could run his car 7 days a week. But I think with the football, as much as I'd like to get involved with it all, it's realism,
Yeah.
And the only way you'll affect the capitalism side of things is in the pocket. So if you want to affect them, don't go to the game. But none of us will do that.
So don't do the tour. Don't go to the concerts and don't buy coats.
Exactly, but none of us will do that
unless you're really cold.
Unless you're really cold. And he's getting on now. And I love to cuddle Dean, but I don't want to cuddle him for 90 minutes. I don't want to send the wrong message. But none of us want to do that. We all love the club. We all want to stand in the cold or sit in the cold for 90 minutes, So unless you're going to hit...
We also love the day, right? We all go. We all get together all the time, right? And part of the day is being with your mates, having a song. And the football is part of it.
It's the football that spoils it. But,
exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's that 90 minutes of being on the edge. If you win the game, you come away, you're all happy, you can talk about it, and we was all in a good mood. We even took a photo after the game, didn't we? We weren't doing that the week with the time before. We was all miserable as fuck, all stormed off with a huff. So it just impacts your life. But I love going up. I love catching up with everybody and all the rest of it. I'd love to see us be successful. I'd love to see us be successful in the right way, whatever the right way is. But I do believe that these guys are trying to do something positive in terms of pushing for change and so on. I'm just not sure it will have the desired effect because there is just so much money involved in it.
It's a different world, isn't it? It's a different world that we'll never be a part of. And like I say, if you want to make a difference, you've got to hit them in the pocket. And we'll never be in a position to do that. I mean, how much was that tunnel club? Then 40 grand.
40 grand just to be part of that.
Just to be part of that. And there's a waiting
so
list.
Much a season. Madness.
So there's people with the money pumping the money into the club. So stop that. But no one will, because if you decide to give up your season ticket, there'll always be someone behind you that's willing to pay for it. So you'll make no difference. It'll
Yeah, I
make no
mean
difference.
it's like the same. I've sold my ticket for the Man City game, right? Because it's midweek, and midweek's a nightmare for me. Some of us have got work and stuff like that.
So
We
have I.
can't just disappear like that. And that ticket was snapped up straight away. And
Exactly.
and they're charging for that game. It's 81 quid. 81
Yeah,
quid
yeah.
for that
It's
one
94
game.
or else it, mate.
Yeah, I mean it's
Not-
crazy money, right?
That's
But
because you're posh, Joe.
people to pay it. People will play it. So I guess it is. Listen, we've rambled on about that, and like you say, we probably can't change it, and there's probably a lot more to go on. But big shout out to Change for Tottenham for the work they're doing, because I think it's important and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you'll get what you want depending on how far you want to go, but you should definitely keep up doing what they're doing.
If you don't try, you'll never know. So good on them.
No, absolutely. So anyway, listen, I know we're at an hour, but I do want to talk, if you guys are happy to carry on for just sort of 10 minutes more. I did want to talk about Ipswich, because we've got Ipswich at the weekend.
Yeah, anyone got a ticket?
I kind of wanted to get your views on that. Let me start with you, Jace. What are you thinking for Tottenham or Ipswich versus Tottenham?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just gutted we can't watch it because it's 3:00 on Saturday afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
some of us can watch it.
I'll be watching it on Sky Sports News 409. But I'm looking forward to it, as I always do, a Tottenham game. But we've won 2 in the bounce, which is fantastic in the league. We beat Brentford and we beat Man United. Ipswich, God, we should never have lost to a team, surely, like Ipswich, and we really were on our belt buckles then, weren't we? Just absolutely
pissed off, were we?
How rotten a day that was at the Lane. So, look, a little bit of revenge is due. I think with some of the players that we've got back now, I'd like to think we've got a little bit more resilience and a bit of strength in there, and hopefully we'll beat them. But a lot of the big teams are rolling them over quite easily. So, I hope we move up. We're not going to move up very much, are we? Aren't we 4 points behind the 11th place or something?
Yeah.
I think so. We're only going to move up a little bit. We need to keep this momentum going of 2 wins in a row, and move up the league. So yeah.
So what's your score prediction though? What do you think it's going to be? You're going for a win, I take it.
Yeah, we apart from Sunday, obviously we didn't let a goal in, which is quite remarkable. But I'm going to go for a 2-1. I think 2-1 to Spurs, away win.
Okay. Mason, what about you? What's your thinking of this weekend? Looking forward to it?
It terrifies me, Lee, if I'm being honest, because just before the game before we beat United, then we got Ipswich, and then we got Man City. So every Spurs fan in the world knows what's going to happen. In typical Tottenham fashion, is that Ipswich will be our hardest game to play, and we'll go and do City 2-0 or something stupid like that. We do it every year. We do it. I think last season we done it to who did we lose to last season?
Lots of teams, mate. You think you can
I know.
How are you struggling with this?
It was one of the relegation sides, and we lost to them. And then the season before that, we had lost to Burnley. And the season before that, we had lost to Middlesbrough. All before we had beat City. So everyone knows what's going on. I'm terrified. I think we're still going to win, because obviously you got to think you're going to win against a side like Ipswich. But as I say, it's terrifying. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs.
2-0, a terrifying 2-0 win.
Terrifying 2-0. And even if we do win, we don't move up the table. I've just looked. Brentford are 4 points ahead. So even if we do win, we don't move up.
Brentford.
But that don't matter, right? Because you're gaining. As long as Brentford don't win, we're gaining, right? So
exactly.
It's all positive. You got to be positive. Dean, let me come to you. What are you saying for this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a 2-0. I don't think we're going to let any in. Although they've got everything to play for, we've got not mid-table mediocrity to play for. And they've got everything. So it's going to be a tight game. But I still think we've got enough on the break if we've learnt our lessons. That's all I hope is that we learn our lessons. I shall be there, and it'll be the first
Show off.
time. Yeah, I know it'll be the first time I've ever been, so it'll be quite good.
And what's your score prediction going to be?
2-0.
2-0. 2-0, same as Mason. Alex, come on in.
Well,
what are you saying?
First of all, I need a ticket, right? So if anyone's got a ticket out there, please let me know, or let Lee know, or anyone know, really. In the great words of Sylvester Stallone, they have drawn first blood. So I reckon we should be out there for vengeance. I reckon it's going to be a 3-0 win to Spurs. I reckon we're going to smash them, right? I reckon we're going to go out there, all guns are blazing, and bury them, and just put them in their place, as in what we should have done the first time round. So I reckon it's going to be a 3-0 win.
See, now I like the way you're thinking. I like your way you're thinking. And I've got to be honest with you. After beating Man United, I'm kind of thinking to myself, what do I fancy this weekend? This is Ipswich. They've beat us. We owe them one, like you've just said.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. In my head, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but in my head, I'm thinking 4-0. This is a 4-0. We've got 4-0 written all over it. When we score goals and we beat a team, we really beat them. And
their morale goes down.
A team like Ipswich, we should be able to beat. I think with the players coming back, getting that bit of rotation, a bit of a rest in the week, and all the rest of it, I should be thinking to myself, "Oh, Dr. Tottenham is going to come knocking." But in my head, for whatever reason, and I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to go with a 4-0 win.
Oh,
and
wow.
I might be deluded. I might be a deluded happy clapper. But
No,
I'm
mate,
going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. So I'm saying 4-0. Jace is saying 2-1.
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
2-1. Mason
Madness.
and Dean are saying 2-0. And Alex is saying 3-0. So we're all saying we're going to win and we're not going to move up the table. But momentum is momentum, and that's what we want. Alex is desperately looking for a ticket. So if there is anybody out there or listening or watching that has a spare ticket, hit me up and I'll put you in touch, and you can stitch him up on the price. I'm sure he's got plenty of money. He can pay for it.
I'm just looking now. I'm not paying 235 or 280 quid. I'll sort you out, but I ain't paying that kind of money.
Even though he's got that sort of money.
He's got that on the dry road.
Sort of money. No, but no. I don't know where you lot think I've got money. It's Mason's fault.
You live in Costa del Canvey.
Oi, I got striped up on Sunday by Mason. Tell him what I bought you, Mason. Yeah, look, there you go. He conned that out of me on Sunday.
See, you're part of the problem, buying stuff from the shop. What's the matter with DHgate?
Well, the Chinese shop isn't selling for another few weeks, so I can't get nothing.
Daniel Levy's going like this. Yeah, come on, boys.
Mason, how warm was that? Not as warm as my coat. Not
as warm as your coat, Dean, no.
Not as warm as his coat.
I didn't buy it. I bought a peak cap actually, because I left it on. I left my other one on top of me car as I drove out of Goodison Park
with your key,
with my emergency car key in it.
See, now you could have gone to see Mario. You could have gone to see Mario.
I did.
At the N17 club and got your hat from him.
No, I did. He did have one. Didn't have one
big enough for your head?
No, he didn't have one. He didn't have a plain black one, actually. All right.
Mario, sort it out, mate. Sort it out, Mario. Listen, we're already at an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to kind of call it all there. But just before we go, Mason, talk to me about Castle Point Spurs.
Castle Point Spurs. It is so. We sorted it out a few weeks ago. Still waiting for a few emails back in regards to flags and website naming and stuff like that. But Castle Point Spurs is up and running now. So probably by the next podcast there will be a few pages made. I've got the email set up. But yeah, just keep an eye out. Castle Point Spurs, me, Alex and Dean heading it up. But yeah, anyone in the Castle Point area, which you might, if you're watching, if you're anywhere near that area, or you know what Costa del Canvey is, or Hadley, or Benfleet, just let us know, and we'll meet you up on a match day.
See, there you have it. They've set up a proper official supporters club, fully aligned with the values of Daniel Levy. They're all in it.
Oi.
And they're gonna set it all up. So if you live in that area and you are a Tottenham fan and you don't get to go to games, but you want to watch games with like-minded people and talk to like-minded people, they're your boys. They're your boys. So let us know and we'll hook you up.
Who's Alex? Dad, are you? Oh,
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to sit and go, Dad, am I?
Only kidding.
Anyway,
Go on.
listen. Just all that's left to say is thank you all for coming along and joining me tonight. I appreciate the banter and the input. It's been fun as always, talking about our favourite subjects on a day where we've had a win to talk about, which is always positive. Thanks again to everybody who's watched along, gone in the comments, and so on and so forth. If you could, just before you go, hit the like. That helps the algorithm. If you've not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel, because again, that helps with the algorithm and lets people know that we're here, because we could do with all the support we could get. I'll be back after the game at the weekend with my review of the game, and the South Dorset Spurs boys will be putting their predictions in before the game. So look out for those, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for coming, everybody, and as always, up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Go on, Tottenham.